Courtney. Let's start with an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge and respect the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land since time immemorial. We are learning that the land is not ours to own, but to look after. And if we listen, we may hear in it the calling of the eternal spirit. Responding to this call, we commit ourselves to work for justice, reconciliation, and care of the earth. Well, I'm very excited about this because I love art, and I love art by people Clem's age, and I'm impressed by art by people of Colin's age.
Oh, thanks.
So I think it's going to be very interesting to hear both your perspectives, and I imagine the things that you have in common. And I thought today, this is a triple C event because Colin and Clem are being interviewed by Colin. It couldn't work out better. So over to you, Colin.
Thank you.
Hi, Colin.
Hello. It's lovely to see you all. Hello. Even those of you I don't know, I'm Colin. Before I begin, I just need to issue a very quick general apology because my dog Joan doesn't care that I'm on Zoom and doesn't let it stop her barking when she feels she needs to bark. So she may bark. We'll just take that as it comes. Thank you, Shannon. Wish me happy birthday. I get so distracted by the chat bubble. So to start off with, Courtney, is it possible to see, just before we begin chatting with the delightful artists, a piece of each of theirs to kind of lead us in? Probably just any piece, and then maybe later on they might have particular pieces that they want us to look at.
Certainly. All right. Well, let me just open this up quickly and make sure that I can figure out how to do the sharing again. All right. So I'll choose just a couple here. And I think as with kind of the previous events and things, you know, where we've had a look at the different artists' work, would encourage you to share in the chat as well if you have any specific reflections on it, any comments that you want to make. I think it's a small enough group as well that you could probably take yourself off mute and just say. It sounds like we've all got pretty good audio and we don't have any kind of echoes or anything. So would encourage you to share as well your, you know, your reflections on this, if you feel comfortable doing so.
Is this, what am I supposed to be seeing right now?
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought I was showing my screen. Can everybody see?
Yeah.
A sculpture.
I love the floor and the wall. It looks like we are walking into a gallery.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So I assume everyone knows that this is one of Colin's pieces. That's gorgeous.
I do love the wood grain kind of contrast, particularly in the back piece.
Mm.
All right. So obviously that's one of Colin's pieces, and then I'm going to move on to the next slide, which will be a couple of Clem's pieces.
Gorgeous.
Oh. Colin, Dave's asking how tall that piece we just saw is.
I don't have it here to measure, but it would be probably about 400 tall, I think. 400 millimeters.
He has to go to church to have a look.
Yeah.
And these are two of Clem's that I haven't seen yet, actually. Beautiful. Thanks for that, Courtney.
Okay.
Right. So I might start with Clem, if that's okay with her. I just want to know, so your processes, both of you and Colin's processes to make your art, I think is going to be fairly different from each other. I mean, you've both turned out such very different work, very beautiful work, but obviously very different to each other, which is fantastic. So you've told me already, but people here might not know. So let's start at the beginning, which is, when did you think that you wanted to be an artist?
It was in the second term of this year, actually, when I asked my mum and told her that I wanted to be an artist when I get older.
Yeah.
Art has always been one of my main interests. I really love doing it. It's just a lot of fun for me, expressing myself sometimes and choosing what colors to do. And so my mum enrolled me in art classes, and that's pretty much where it began.
Beautiful. So your mum said, well, if you're going to be an artist, let's get you in some classes.
Yeah.
That's great. And so I understand that is all the work that's in the Brunswick show work that you produce through the classes? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not super confident in doing things on my own without guidance and things, since all of them I've done with art classes, and all of them have actually been online classes, except the portrait, which was the only one that I showed, which was in person with my art teacher.
Oh, beautiful. What do you enjoy about art classes?
I really like having fun with different sorts of art. Like, well, mostly since I had to do it through Zoom, I've mostly been focusing on drawing, but I had a lot of fun with clay and painting, which I don't usually do that often. And just learning different techniques. It's really interesting for me. I love art history of all the artists. MC Escher is one of my favorite artists. We've actually been looking at him lately with all his illusions and things.
Beautiful. Yeah, and you painted a bit of a, like you painted like a Escher style painting, didn't you? Or drawing rather. Which one? I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know if that one was shown in the art show, because I didn't quite get to finish. But oh yeah, it might have been that one. This one did not turn out very good. You can kind of see the ball in there.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 3D, but I wasn't super happy with how it turned out. It's in texture, since I didn't have any pencils that were dark enough.
Oh, sure.
That showed, so it kind of went through to the other side and everything. It was really nice. I didn't enjoy that one as much as I usually do.
Okay, well that's all right if you didn't. If you can just keep trying things, I guess. But Janet in the chat says that looks fabulous, and I agree. And I think it's wonderful that you're trying so many different styles. I'm just going to swing across to Mr. Hunter now. Hello, Colin.
Oh, right, me.
That's you.
Hello,
So,
Dan.
similar question to Clem. How did you decide that you wanted to do this, and when that you wanted to start doing wood carving?
I guess I've always played around with wood, but probably maybe 15 years ago or thereabouts, I did a workshop with a guy up in Landsborough, up in the bush, and he was a professional sculptor in wood and limestone. And I just caught the sense that this is something I would really like to do. And so it was only a one-day workshop, but I learned so much from him in that short space of time about the tools you need to use for this kind of sculpture, and how to get the kind of finish that he was able to do. His name was Kevin Free, And interestingly, Kevin is a Buddhist. And probably 5 years ago, he finished doing professional sculpture in order that he could serve the Buddhist community and prepare himself for the next life. He was a deeply spiritual man. And I think that that connection with, through wood, you are connected with the earth. And yeah, that's what fired me up some years ago now.
Yeah. So did you get back into it recently, or have you been doing it all the time since then?
I've been doing it all the time since then, but it takes me a long time to produce a piece.
Sure.
It's quite a long process. And
yeah, I can imagine.
So I don't rush it. I just go according to when I think, right, now's the time I want to do something. And then I'll probably work on 2 or 3 pieces at the one time and gradually just see what emerges from it. Yeah,
Emergence.
Emergence is a very appropriate title for the way Wood and I kind of hold it together.
That's lovely. I like that you're referring to wood as sort of another presence in the creation process.
Yeah.
Like you and wood are working in this together. That's beautiful.
But I think it's lovely that Clem has come in, an artist from almost day one, Clem.
Yeah.
I love your work. And here's me, a late comer, late starter, as I, yeah, it takes me a long time to work things out.
Yeah, it is really 2 really different points in the process, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Clem was talking about, I had a little chat with her yesterday about the processes that she's practiced. She's got to practice a lot of different kind of ways of making art. Yeah. Clem, you told me you had a favorite piece. Is that in the show? Remind me.
Yes, it is. It's the girl sitting in her bed looking out the window.
Yeah. Can we see that? Is that easy enough to do?
Yeah, I'm just going to make it its own slide. Give me a moment.
And Clem, I thought when we're looking at it, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about the process that you went through to do this one. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Thanks. It's really beautiful for those who haven't seen it.
Well, let me know if that's the right one, Clem.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Perfect.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it?
I really enjoyed this one because it doesn't take up the full page. It kind of just drifts into the rest of the page. I don't usually draw things from I don't usually draw things like this that often, and I find I don't love drawing people, but I was very happy with how this one turned out because I didn't have to draw her face, which I'm still learning how to do. I found that my shading I was very proud of in the sky, and they said that when we drew the curtain, which is just at the end of her bed, the colors are all slightly lighter.
Yeah.
My art teacher told me to just leave it blank, but I finished coloring it in and then used a rubber to make it lighter, so it actually looked like it was see-through, even though my teacher told me to just leave it since it was too hard. But I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I really enjoyed it, even though it was pretty hard.
Yeah.
The bed covers were the hardest part, since all the lines, I didn't have a ruler on me.
So what did you use instead of a ruler?
I just did it freehand.
Wow.
Which is good, kind of, because it showed that the girl was sitting in her bed, so it kind of has to go up instead of a straight line. I don't usually do stuff like that. And the thing at the end of her bed, the yellow space at the end of her bed, that's supposed to be like a shadow or light. To me, it doesn't look super good since the sky, it's kind of turning into night or like late evening. So it is still my favorite piece, but I think now I would have done some things differently.
Well, I think it's wonderful. And I'll just read a couple of comments we've got in the chat. We've got Clementine, that's spectacular. So dreamy, lovely work. I love the invitation to imagine. That's beautiful. And I agree, Sadie. Great effect, Clem, of doing the shading. I love the way my eye is taken out of the room and away into the hills and the moonlit sky. Janet says she loves it. You trusted your own decisions, and I agree. It's really, really good, Clem. It draws you into the picture, and Dave wonders what she's thinking. Yeah, so does, and so does Janet. And that's true. It does. It draws you in, doesn't it? So, and I think because I like that you've learned all these skills that you've talked about, and you say that you're not particularly confident yet, kind of thinking of things to do on your own, but you are already practicing creativity, like of your own. Like the teacher says to try something with the curtain, and you thought, I think there's a way that I can do that. So you colored it in and you used an eraser. I think that's really creative, a creative way to solve a problem, and it looks fantastic. So great job, and thanks for letting us into your little process for that. How do you feel? This is what I want to ask. It's a little bit of a weird question. How do you feel when you look at that?
Mostly proud of myself that
Yeah.
I did something. For me, I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Since before I started doing art classes, I didn't think of myself as a good drawer. So I was kind of a bit doubtful I could become a good artist, because I'm pretty impatient. I'm a very impatient person. So sometimes with my art, I get annoyed at myself not being able to do it right, or not being able to do it quickly enough.
Yeah.
So I always find that a bit annoying, but I just feel very proud of myself for being able to do something like that. I never thought I would produce art for me that good.
Yeah, it must be a wonderful feeling to have made something so beautiful, and to have made so many things that are beautiful. You produce so many pieces. Is there, just before we ask Colin another question, is there a style of art that you've learned in the classes that you found really challenging, that's been really difficult for you to get a hold of?
The most challenging thing that I've done is probably the painting I did. I don't have much experience with painting. It's just that one project that I did. And for me, especially people, I don't find that very easy. I was just saying, this one, I didn't have to draw her face or anything, but I was doing a self-portrait of me. So I found that very difficult. I kind of wanted to leave it black and white, but we had to do the painting and everything. I'm mostly proud of my clothes there. I think the colors are really good. The background, again, I was getting impatient with not being able to finish the background in one session, so I started rushing that. So if I could go back, I'd probably do a better job on that. But I found my skin very hard. Since we had to draw all the shadows, and I like doing gradients. I find I'm getting better and better at those each time I do my art classes. And going straight from something like really, really light to something really, really dark, that was kind of annoying to do, since it's not something that I would usually do.
Oh, thanks.
And then on my forehead, there was, of course, the really, really light spot on my head. And of course, there was my cheek and my nose. So we had to make that without drawing a dark line in between. They had to be the same color, but slightly different colors. So you know that it was a different thing, where the nose stopped and everything. So I found that difficult. And lastly, my lips were very challenging. I could not find the right colors to do that. So my art teacher actually had to show me and do some of it for me before I finished, because I was getting kind of annoyed not being able to find the right colors to actually start my lips.
Yeah. Skin and lip color is notoriously difficult.
Yeah.
I love it that was so, I mean, it must have been frustrating working in a style that you aren't used to and all that sort of stuff. But as Janet has just commented, you've turned out an absolutely gorgeous painting. Like, so you're obviously, it's wonderful that you're learning through the process of being challenged, as well as learning styles that you feel really confident in. Do you think that you'd be able to paint another painting now and feel a bit better about it after doing this one?
Probably. I could have definitely done a better job at that skin, and definitely my neck, and some areas where I think I could have definitely done better and done way better now. Since I think this was my second, maybe third art project, so third week. So I wasn't very experienced in art at all.
Sorry, this was the third week of your classes?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So I moved fourth, because one of the projects clay took 2 weeks.
Sure.
2 days over 2 weeks. My art classes were every Saturday. So this one, I wasn't very experienced in painting. This was my first time painting a portrait, or even painting at all, really. I don't do it often at all.
Clem, it's really beautiful.
Thanks.
It's a really extraordinary painting.
Happy. Yeah, I was very happy with how it turned out.
It's gorgeous. And just quickly, you told me yesterday that one of the inspirations that you used in your art class, and one of the inspirations for you personally, is Vincent van Gogh.
Yeah.
The background particularly was inspired by that.
Yeah, my mum has found this picture here of his.
Yay, there he is.
That was one of his pictures.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say, but the background was definitely inspired by him, and we had his technique. We did his technique for the clothes and the backgrounds and everything, which are like the dots and things, different colors, and we had a limited color palette and everything. So we had a photo of his portrait at the front of the class, so we could keep looking at that and try to do something similar-ish to that.
Yeah.
So it was pretty hard though.
So
I bet.
sorry, I just gotta find it.
Oh. So reading imagination, I'm just we've got just a couple of comments about that portrait. Such a mature portrait, Clem. Stunning, Clem, and I love your use of pattern as well. So dynamic. I think it not only captures your likeness but also your energy. Yeah, that's a good point. James says it's amazing. Dave said he was wondering about the Vincent. Your self-portrait is amazing. So there you go. You can't argue with that. Everyone loves it. Colin, maybe it might be a good time now, if it's okay with Courtney, if we look at some of your work. Do you have a favourite piece that's in the show, or just something that you'd like to talk about?
I think that's my least favourite piece is the Celtic Cross.
Okay.
But that's all right. As it plays. Interesting that the one about the snakes is one that I love, but Jenny has a snake phobia. You won't have it in the house. But it not only the piece of wood that I had was just such a gift. And in fact, always I've got to have a piece of wood that says something to me. And that one did in spades. The branches. And it's a beautiful timber. And I should say, those sculptures are there to be held, and it's a tactile art form. So yes, that is my favourite one, and I like the way it said to me that in life, in society, there are always two almost antiphonal energies going on, and you could think about the will we lock down or will we open up? Is it individual freedom or is it corporate responsibility? You could go on and on about these tensions that exist within society. And the bit I noticed, and I deliberately didn't fill it up, you see the little hole right at the top, which says to me, right, one snake has actually taken a chunk out of the other snake's cheek.
Wow.
And in a way, it has been a bit like that, where one side will get very angry about this, that, or the other, and there can be, and I think you find in on things like Facebook that this can happen a lot, that people will attack each other rather than have a mutual, rational, respective conversation. So that piece to me is very challenging. It challenges me to look at sometimes the snake that's within me.
Yeah.
Right, come on, settle down.
It's really, really beautiful, Colin.
Thank you.
And it is I wish that I could pick it up right now. Actually, it does look like it would be, I really want to handle it.
Yeah. And the other one, the one with the hands tree, that also really needs to be handled and felt. But I just, I'm in awe of the creativity of Clem. In starting with a kind of a blank canvas, and then so imaginatively working into something that as someone said, draws us into the future and beyond. Those works very different and a different way of appreciating that art. But I just want to say, Clem, I thought your work was just amazing, yes, sometimes I wish I could do that, but no, I can't. Anyway, enough of that.
A couple of people have asked questions about your process. Janet asked a question that I was wondering about too. So the process of making, let's say, for instance, this dangerous dance piece. Yep. Janet has asked, do you know what you're doing when you go in, or I guess the other, I mean, I don't know enough about the process, or is it like you said something before about seeing what happens?
The piece of wood that I have really determines what the outcome is.
Wow.
I've got another one here, like this. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this started as probably best part of 100-year-old stump.
Oh my gosh.
And all I did was I started by getting rid of all the rubbish out of it. And as that happened, just starting, I'll show you. Oh yeah, see, right. This is what I used to do. It looks brutal, doesn't it? Just starting to work with removing bits and leaving what is solid work led to a kind of Madonna. Mind you, I've always been drawn to the Madonna as being a terribly significant symbol within human life. And this one, I call this the Cracked Madonna because I've left all the cracks in it. and there are many of them. There's cracks all over the place in it, but it's the flaws in the wood are what make it interesting. Just as the flaws in us make us interesting. Yeah, so I mean, I get a bit meditative and philosophical when I'm doing it.
Nothing wrong with that. That's beautiful. So is the process of making these things, however long it takes? Oh, well, just as a quick aside then, how long did it take you to make the snake piece?
I mean, if you say how much time, it would be how many hours? Well, it would be bucket loads of hours. I think I worked on that piece for about 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
That would be typical.
And is it a spiritual activity for you always?
Absolutely. I get lost in it. I'm doing it, even though I'm using, saws and chisels and all sorts of, not blokey thing. Don't ever think that it's just blokes that do this stuff. A young friend of my daughter Anne's is fabulous with working with her hands, with timber, steel, all sorts of things. So no, it's not a boys' club. This stuff belongs way beyond that. Anyway, what was the question?
I was just interested in the spiritual and aspect of the work.
Yeah, to me, the spiritual aspect is actually looking to see what might be there, and that's where, as with Clem, that's where imagination comes in. Imagination is central to Dr. In fact, I was going to ask you to have a look at this and see what it says to everybody there. This is the next bit that I'm working on. Now, it's a very old piece, but and it's very cracked. It has all sorts of convolutions. I mean, how this grew, blow do I know, but it is really hard stuff. Fantastic to work.
Yeah.
What would you do with it? Any responses?
Could you show us the whole piece, Colin?
Yeah, hold it back a bit. I want to know what Clem thinks it looks like.
Oh.
What Clem would do with it.
Yeah, Clem, what do you reckon you would make out of that?
I honestly have no idea. I wouldn't know where to start. It kind of does look somewhat like a snake, though.
Oh, a goanna.
My only problem is Jenny hates snakes.
So if you make another snake, she'll take it very personally at this point.
Anybody want a snake?
I mean, yeah. Someone else wanted to know, what wood you use? Is it different from piece to piece?
Okay. I have many different kinds. On the tree of hands sculpture, the tree itself is olive wood, very appropriate for Brunswick Uniting. And the piece in front is a piece of, I think it's blackwood. And again, it is really, really hard. So I'll use whatever's available, except there are some woods that just are no good for carving.
Okay.
They're too soft, they're too fibery, they're too whatever, but something that is dense. In other words, a piece of wood that has taken a long time to grow and has kind of emerged over the years. That's the kind of wood I like to work with.
Beautiful. It's really marvelous thinking that, like you said, that something was like 100-year-old stump or something. You said, I think that maybe the Madonna.
Yeah.
it's just beautiful to think that it's been sitting there being a beautiful stump for a while, and now in it the whole time has been this figure that you've sort of released.
That's what Michelangelo used to say about his sculptures. He said, "I'm releasing, whatever it was, out of David, out of the marble."
Yeah,
and that's what I feel. I'm looking to see.
it's amazing.
Sometimes I should say I don't always start with an interesting piece of wood like that snake or those snakes. I'll sometimes start with just a lump of timber, nice hard timber, and then on the way through, I'll turn it like that. What do you reckon that is?
And
this is only barely started.
Elephant.
Yes, I was gonna
Baby Yoda vibes.
What is it, you reckon?
An angel?
It's like an angel, yes, and I'm hoping that will eventually be recognisable as a barn owl.
That's what I thought first.
It would make a beautiful Dumbo the elephant, though, Colin.
Dumbo the elephant?
Yeah.
It could be ears or it could be wings. So that depends on your imagination, Annie. So
Yeah.
I'll make a Dumbo in the
Just so there's a few comments about your work. Sadie says the snake piece is like the holding of grace and tension. People have said that your work is beautiful, obviously, and evocative and incredible. Very special that the wood talks to you and flaws become beauty. Oh yeah, does the wood ever fall apart as you're working on it? That's a good question.
Yeah. There's sometimes when I start on a piece that I think will be okay, and no, it just disintegrates. So not very, but now and again.
Must be frustrating.
Not really.
Okay.
I just pick up and go on to something else.
Yeah, I suppose if it's the process that you're interested in.
It is. It
is. That's kind of beautiful. No wonder it's meditative. Yeah. Wonderful. Clem, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. What do you think of Colin's work?
It's really good.
Mm.
It is different from mine. And honestly, I would never do something like good. Honestly. But I think it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really different to yours. And I think Colin was as blown away by your work. You know, I think that's what's wonderful about creativity and the emergence of art from different people, is that it takes on such different forms. Clem, do you have another piece that you'd like us to look at here?
I've got a question for Clem, if she doesn't mind an unexpected one.
Yeah, it's fine.
I had the honour of pinning your drawings to the wall the other day, so I hope I did a good job. You'll have to go and see what you think. But as I was pinning them up, I was interested in the one that looks a bit like a tree stump. And then, of course, when I looked at it, I thought, oh, it's underwater. Can you tell me about that one? So it's the one that's got the brown, I might have misread it completely. It's got the brown bit in the middle. I'm talking now to give Courtney a chance to find it. And then it's got, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
That one. Tell me about was one of my very first drawings in my art class. That one's is a tree stump, but it's kind of come to life.
Oh,
it's very hard to see since my shading was not very good, and what it's actually sitting on is supposed to be a rock.
Oh yeah, it's having a little rest.
But my shading was not very good then, and I don't like the rock.
I loved it though, Clem, because it really made me think. I looked at it for a little while, and I'm so glad I've got the opportunity to ask you about it.
Yeah, the background is like kind of like trees, but it's kind of a spooky sort of thing, since there are ghosts coming out of it, and it is
That's
very different.
That's what
from
confused me, because I thought the ghosts were fish. I wonder what the prompt was for this picture, if it's a wrecked bit of tree under the water.
So
But
it's
very-
Notice it's got a little smile as well.
yeah.
Notice-
that my grey lead was not dark enough to go over the brown colours, since I had to do that last.
But
didn't
it's
have
subtle.
Sorry?
It's subtle.
Yeah.
You can still see it.
Yeah, I think there were definitely some things I would change, or definitely I could do better now, but that still is one of my favorites. Since I don't do many drawings, like it's supposed to be spooky or with that variety of colors, usually.
Was the decision to make it spooky yours?
No, but sometimes this mostly happened in the earlier times where there were decisions on whether it could be a cute thing or a spooky
Yeah.
thing, and we all had a vote. Like for one of my owls that I don't think was actually in the art show, I drew an owl, and we had a vote on whether it should be a night creature or a day creature, and the vote was a night creature. So we drew an owl.
Ah, okay. I like that.
Yes, so rarely, not often, we do get to vote on what we draw. And for some things, we choose a variety of colors that we use. Like for that one I showed you before with the black and white checkered drawing, we didn't have to do black. We could do pink, say, or yellow, but I went black since it's what my teacher was doing, and because I think what would have been most kind of powerful and what would have looked the best, since it's supposed to be like kind of an illusion, sort of. Here it is, that one.
The Escher, yep.
That one. I think if I went with pink or yellow, it wouldn't have the same effect. I don't think.
I agree.
So.
Clem, Emily would like to know if you could paint a portrait of anybody in the world, who would you like to meet and paint? That's a pretty big question.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Probably someone in my family.
Well, that'd be nice.
I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You can think about it.
Maybe Emily's a candidate.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day you'll be so famous you'll be painting all of our portraits, or we'll be lucky if we can get you to paint our portrait. So you have, Clem, you have gone into the Olive Way where the art is up and had a look at it, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How did it feel to see your art in there?
kind of amazing. I
Yeah.
never thought I'd usually show my art to that many people, especially not really people at church. So I felt really good. I felt happy with the arrangement from the portrait, different in a different place from the other drawings in pencil. And I was just very happy with myself and surprised that I got to show my art, since my mum one day told me about the art show and asked if I wanted to do it. And I definitely said wanted to do it to show my art, because I don't really show many people my art other than sometimes my friends if they're over, or it's just usually family and stuff. And especially not at church. I never thought I would show my art to that many people at the same time, or have it my art in an art show. I never really thought it was that amazing that it should be an art show, but I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so brave of you, and it's really wonderful that we all get to see it. It's such a gift that you've given to everyone, both of you actually, to be making this art and not only that, to be giving it to the world. It makes our lives a bit better when we get to see beautiful works of art. Just checking the chat to see if there's anything I should be talking about. Someone says you should, Emily again, you should do a still life of one of Colin's pieces. That'd be interesting. Would you want to do that? Draw one of Colin's sculptures?
I could, but honestly, I think I'd probably wreck it. So.
I look forward to seeing it, Clem.
And someone says their favorite is the squirrel.
Oh, that one, yeah. That one was kind of annoying for me as well. We had to draw the fur. And we couldn't do direct gradient shading, which is dark to light. So I tried doing that, but yeah, that one, yeah, I had to draw it on a different angle. So it's not straight.
I think the angle makes it so much, like it makes it pop. It's really interesting to look at because of the angle.
So you could see I had to draw the fur, especially on its side, and it wasn't too much of a gradient. It was, some parts it was a little bit too sudden to be a gradient, and I was kind of annoyed with myself about that.
So I feel like you're a little hard on yourself, Clem.
Yeah, well,
which is something that I understand well. But you've done just beautiful work. I do understand wanting to kind of learn and get better and stuff, but I think that what you're making is extraordinary.
Thanks. And I am happy with it, but this definitely is not my favorite piece.
Well, that's okay. They can't all be favorites.
No.
But I think when we were chatting, you said you really liked the little acorn on the floor.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part about the piece. Yeah. I really don't like it because it's supposed to be eating an acorn. Doesn't look like that. It looks like it's grabbing its nuts.
I think it looks like it's a bit shocked.
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like. It's just, I don't think it's eating.
It's just having sort of a big day or something.
It was very difficult to draw the feet and the hands. I don't know how many times I had to redraw the arm. It still looks like it's coming out of its head.
So Dave says that the shadow shading is really cool here, which I would agree with. And Katie says that Grandma Jenny says the squirrel is her favorite. So we've got a couple of votes for the squirrel. It is really beautiful. It's so wonderful that because you're kind of being taking such practical steps towards being an artist, that you've gone to classes, and that means you've got to work your way through so many different styles. I think it's wonderful, the opportunities there.
Yeah, it's been really good in lockdown, actually, focusing on just drawing.
Yeah.
Because usually in my art classes, we do 3 main things. We do a main drawing piece, usually either like a painting piece, and either a clay or something else, or another clay piece. So I've only ever done the clay and painting once, since we can't really do that over Zoom or anything. Okay. So it's been good for me just to focus on drawing, since I've definitely gotten a lot better at that since I first started. I'm very happy with my skill level now, and I'm just hoping to get better now.
Yeah, well, you're already very talented. Colin, was your carving a good I can't think of the word. Was it something that was helpful to you to have during lockdown?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And not just through lockdown, but through Jenny's stuff this last 12 months, which has been very challenging for Jenny particularly, and for all of us. Yeah, it was a way in which, I could work through a lot of the dark side that comes out within at times of great challenge and stress. And that was where I particularly liked the Tree of Hands. We have experienced over the last year the most astonishing way in which people have kind of held their arms around us. And I said in the little blurb that, this figure in the middle, androgynous figure, is not really aware of all of the hands that are there to help and heal and bless, but maybe only in retrospect that you tend to appreciate just how much. So COVID has been incredibly challenging, but also it's been a gift to us.
Yeah, wow. That's gorgeous, Colin. Hi, Jenny.
Hello.
Oh, herself, who hates snakes.
Hates snakes.
I've killed a lot of them.
Don't, as long as you don't take it out on Colin's
I just
snake.
hit off with a snake. Quick smart.
How embarrassing.
Well, I had little kids and they were crawling in my backyard.
Okay. The mighty snake hunter.
Yeah, this is quite true, actually. We lived in Brisbane where we had red-bellied blacks in the backyard. And yes, so I think Jenny did the right thing at the time.
Absolutely.
Michael probably wouldn't agree with us, but there you go.
What a beautiful way, just going back to the Tree of Hands, what a beautiful way to be able to sort of, express your experiences of love and prayer and support. It's really wonderful.
Yes.
Do we have...
really like
sorry.
that hand that blesses, because that one has been tremendously important for us through the faith community at Brunswick. And being back there again on Sunday was just quite amazing. So all of these things, I haven't called my stuff art. So other people called it that, but it is integrated in our life experience and the natural world around us. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, Claire says that perhaps in the Tree of Hands there's a reflection of the Trinity.
There is. Yes, indeed. And certainly in the Celtic Cross, although I didn't actually get around to putting it on that, the Celtic knot, the Trinity.
Oh yeah.
Is very much part of the Celtic history. So yes, Trinity is a big word for me. Certainly when I was doing postgraduate stuff, that it was the thought of the Trinity as being of the essential essence of God, and that we are part of that.
Whenever the clock strikes, whenever.
Anyway.
It's beautiful. And I like thinking back to the snake piece that we were looking at before. I mean, obviously something that's always one of the best parts of art is that we can, as a viewer, you can look at it and have your own experience of it. Yes. So I looked at the snake piece and I thought it looked like they were dancing, but which, it is called dangerous dance, but it looks like they could eventually embrace.
Yes.
There's the possibility of not just antagonism there.
And for me, that translates into the other things I was thinking about, the ways in which society polarizes can lead us, and maybe through climate change, we will be forced to face that which is seen as other and as threat.
Yeah.
And embrace it. So yeah, I mean, there are all kinds of ways that you can look at it, but that has been part of my thinking too, Carla.
Yeah. And similarly, when we were looking at Clem's art, people were talking about, particularly your favorite piece, Clem, the Through the Window piece. People were sort of talking about that it felt like it invited them in, you know, and they were wondering what the girl was thinking, who's in the bed. And I think that's what's gorgeous about art and so many of your pieces, is that they invite us into them. How does it feel to you to hear people responding to your art in that way?
It feels really good, knowing they liked something that I did. It's a great feeling knowing that I did that and that people actually liked it. I don't know how to describe the feeling I get, but it's just a great feeling, I guess.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful thing to be able to give to people. Courtney, did you get that request to see the? Yeah, we're just going to get the picture of the window up again. I really like the bunting in it. I'm a fan of bunting, the ribbony thing, and I think it's placed in such a nice way. There we go. It really does, because she's in the bed looking out the window, it makes you look out the window as well, and you sort of want to go out there a bit, I think. And because of the way that the curtain's positioned, you can imagine a beautiful soft breeze coming through the window, which is my favorite thing about windows. Does anyone else who is not me have a question for either of the artists that they want to maybe type into the chat or perhaps ask themselves?
Someone asked me, Clem, when they came to the exhibition, whether your flying moth butterfly was a moth or a butterfly. And I did, when I pinned it up on the wall, I put it next to the lighthouse, thinking it might be a moth.
It was supposed to be a butterfly, but they have very similar bodies, and it's just the detail on the back that actually gave the impression that it was a moth. So it is a butterfly, but I can see why some people can think it was a moth, honestly. After I did the back, I was like, isn't this a moth? I actually asked my art teacher about that. Yeah, I guess it could be either, really. But the intention was for it to be a butterfly.
It's really cool. Sadie says it's a story moth, which, story butterfly, sorry. Which because it seems to be telling a story on its wings. Can I just say that you may have a career ahead of you as a tattoo artist. Feel inclined. This is primo work. I'm gonna put myself down for your first tattoo, Clem.
My art teacher said that we were going to be doing landscapes today. My favorite thing to draw are landscapes. I really enjoy doing those, as well as my mandalas. But I was surprised when we started and she said that we were going to draw a butterfly. And I thought we were going to do a landscape. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
So when we started drawing the body, and especially when we started drawing the wings, I was like, this is the landscape.
Yeah.
It was a bit maybe a third of the way through, but we actually started doing the main parts of the landscape inside the butterfly's wings. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
so that was surprising for me. I really like how it turned out. I'm proud of the boat in the bottom left-hand wing.
Clem, you'll probably get lots of other questions to answer before this one, but I'll put it on note, Carolyn. Could Clem tell us about her beautiful picture looking down on a boat? Well, it's a painting, isn't it? Oh, is it coloured pencil, Clem? It's beautiful.
It's actually coloured pencil and watercolour.
I think that's my favourite.
I like that. Yeah.
And we started off by drawing the boat. And then I didn't know whether we were going to do watercolor. So this was my first ever watercolor piece. I don't usually do watercolor. I've experimented with it before, but I've never really done a piece involving this much watercolor. It's actually more watercolor than pencil. I like the effect. I do like using watercolor, but I think since it was my first time, I went over it probably too many times, and it doesn't look like just one layer. So that's kind of annoying for me, but I really like, and I'm proud of the sharks and the whales. I don't draw those often, and the shading on the main bigger whale's tail. So after we did the watercolor, we went over the main spots, like the tails and the fins and everything, in pencil.
Okay.
So it was kind of, we had to draw the boat, draw the water and the animals, go over with watercolor, and then go back over with colored pencil. So that was a lot of fun drawing it.
Did your teacher suggest that you draw the boat looking down on it, or did that idea occur to you?
No, my teacher did suggest it, since she said the whole thing was going to be on a bird's eye view. I think this is my only picture from the bird's eye view perspective. I do really like it, since it makes it easier to draw things, not having, because the animals, you don't have to purposely draw them 3D. They kind of just appear that way, sort of. And from a bird's eye view, they don't always look 3D, but you kind of think they are, which is what I like about it.
It's beautiful. This is really lovely. So you've enjoyed the process of using watercolors, which you've done just such a great use of watercolors there, in my opinion. Someone would like to know what medium would you use if you had the choice? So what's your chosen sort of way of making art?
Since I've mostly done pencil, I think I really do like doing colored pencil, and I really enjoy doing black and white art.
Okay.
So I want to learn how to draw people in black and white form, like really super 3D. That's what I really want to learn how to do. I like drawing in black and white because it can be a lot more powerful than colored pencil or using colored colors and things. Yeah, this is one of my.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, this.
Great eyes.
Yeah, the eyes are very, very hard. That one I like because it's kind of in the perspective of a person saying sit to a cat.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I like about it. So it's from their perspective.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be in their perspective, but in that perspective, it was just supposed to be a cat's head. So the bits on the sides that join the body and the head together, those bits I kind of added in myself, thinking it would make it look like it was sitting. Otherwise, it was just literally the neck and the head of the cat. So I just added those 2 bits in to make it look a bit more finished.
Yeah,
Um,
that's beautiful. Look at that lovely cat.
I have a question for you too, Clem. So you went to the exhibition on the weekend, did you, and had a look at all the works? Did any of the pieces in particular, did you have a favourite among them, or did you kind of see one that you're like, oh, I want to try that next?
yeah, the ones in the kitchen, the one where the olive way where my portrait was, those photos, and some of them were paintings of flowers and plants, I believe, in picture frames. Those ones were my favorites. I really like the small paintings of the flowers. I believe they were paintings. Honestly, they almost look like pictures.
I think that's
I really
Bridie's piece.
like those.
Beautiful. What about you, Colin? Have you been to see the exhibition?
Yeah, we went today, although we had to rip around the church one because there was another group in there. I love Christina's painting of the nativity, because she brings all the animals into it, and you know, the Christ child is more in the background. Yes, it's really touched me quite deep. That's the one. Look at that.
That is gorgeous.
It is absolutely sensational. I mean, she is a great artist. We've seen that with other of her work, but something very whimsical about this. I think sometimes we take ourselves a bit too seriously, and that is really just fantastic. But also there was that whole suite of paintings by someone I didn't know, an Anglican minister from the bush, David something or other, and his work was really
It's David Kerr, I think.
I think that might be it. Yeah. So I would have stayed there for an hour just looking at those, but unfortunately we had to evacuate because
Oh wow,
that one, that's called Crossroads, that one, and I thought, wow,
that's gorgeous.
it's just amazing, and the time, the patience, the attention to detail, which I think is what good art is about, and what Clem has done so beautifully in her artwork. Yeah, it kind of drew me in.
Ooh,
Amazing.
that's very evocative.
Yeah. Every one of his works of art, I thought were inviting us to look into ourselves and then get out of ourselves a meaning for ourselves, which is what art does, I suppose.
I might show the piece that you were mentioning as well, Clem, by Bridie, so that everyone can have a look at that as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Whoa.
Is that the one you were talking about, Clem?
Yeah, that was one of them, yeah. I also remembered the ones in the main hall. The ones, I think they're mostly black and white, pictures of these girls, women, I can't really remember. But I remember walking into the Great Hall and turning left, and I believe they were there. I can't really remember.
I'm getting tired.
Trying to find the right ones, because I think I know which ones you're talking about.
So, Clem, does looking at other people's art make you want to make more of your own? Does it inspire you to try different things, or?
Yes.
Mm.
I really did that. I think that was one of them. I can't really remember. I really do love looking at other people's art, seeing what they do, and in usually there's a story behind all these art pieces.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that was one of my favorites, that one.
Anne, I think Anne's on this call. That's beautiful, Anne. All right.
Yeah, I want to learn how to draw things like that 3D, because they're just amazing.
Well, it's really exciting that you've got so much more art to do in your life, and there's so much more you can learn and practice, and you're already so fantastic. That's very beautiful, Anne.
Yeah, and the last one was the one, it was different, not a painting. There was in the church, not the hall, but where we do the church service and everything, the bowl with all these stones and flowers in it, it was sitting on top of a mirror, and I stood in front of it and looked down, and it felt like I would fall into the mirror. I really enjoyed looking at that one as well. I didn't really see who did it, but I really liked that one. Yeah,
it's fun. It's great when art makes you have such a reaction like that, isn't it? Oh wow.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it's
Joy.
all sitting on the mirror, and when I looked down and I saw the mirror, and I felt like I could just fall into it.
Yeah.
Strange feeling, honestly, but it was really incredible.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful.
And I like it because it's so different to what I do. It's just, I never thought about art could be so many different things, especially when I was little or littler. I usually just saw art was painting, drawing, but since then I've seen so many different art pieces like this one that they're so different, and there aren't too many of them that you see that often, but they're incredible.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Courtney, how are we doing? I reckon that might be.
Yeah, I think that might be time. Well, not
Thank you for talking to me, artists.
Thank you for talking, Colin.
Colin, you asked such good questions. It's been
That was wonderful.
lovely to hear your voice and to hear the thoughtfulness with which you've got them to talk to us too. I wanted to say how that Clem's right. The emergence just shows you art can be so many different things. And I think it was beautiful tonight that we had the thoughtfulness and the intention of Colin and the openness and the freshness of Clem together. And just such a celebration of the breadth of our church community. And I also wanted to thank Courtney, because if you're a cowboy, Courtney, you would be a quick draw. That was amazing that you can just bring up these pictures from an aside. It's fantastic.
One of the unintended benefits of doing an all-online exhibition is that you've got them all right at hand.
All in your brain. They're all in there, like a slideshow in your brain.
That's it.
Thank you, everyone. I think I haven't been to that many emergence things yet, but I reckon this is going to be my top favourite. Thank you very much, artists. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming.
Pleasure.
Lovely
to see. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Clemmy.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Colin, and thanks, Clem.
Thank you, Colin.
Haven't lost your touch, Colin.
Oh,
Bye.
so lovely to hear your voice again, Colin, and to hear you laugh.
Same.
Yeah.
Good to see and hear you. It's good to yeah, it's always good to kind of paddle into the Brunswick waters again.
Good. Come back again.
Yeah.
I will.
Definitely come back again.
I will.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.